take you through the market close today. The NSE All-Share Index lost about 0.25%, closing at 35,949 points. This was seen as a result of losses seen in the shares of the likes of Betaglass, Presco, PZ, University Press, and CCNN, while gainers on the day included Ashaka Cement, Total, International Breweries, and CAP. So some volatility with respect to stocks like International Breweries, which of course gained in recent sessions. Now joining me at the stock exchange to talk us through the latest news on the market is Sam Ine, stockbroker at TFS Securities. Sam, thank you for joining us. And I was just going to get to that big news around Access Bank. They presented their midterm strategy to investors today at the stock exchange. I know you weren't at the event, but what's the sentiment for Access Bank, especially in a situation where we're seeing a transition? Part of the announcement today, of course, is plans for Herbert Wigwe to take over from Ige Mokwede, the current CEO, at the end of the year.
Market sentiment for Access Bank has been very strong and stable. If you look at the recent pullback in the market, you will see that the share price of Access Bank hasn't gone below 10.6 from the high of 11. So the market sentiment for Access Bank has been strong. Market really believes in the capability, the determination, and the prowess of the management team that is led by Ag. And because the duo, that is Ag and Herbert, have actually been at the helms of their affairs from when they took over the old Access Bank, when they took over Intercontinental Bank. So we believe that when I leave, that the transition will be a bit seamless because they've both been working together all these years. So market sentiment for Access Bank has been very, very strong, and I expect it to be stable in the years ahead.
All right, so you could say they are birds of the same feather. So not much is expected to change going forward, but of course they have announced plans to be one of the dominant players, of course, in this market over the next 5 years. And in fact, part of those plans is to be the most respected bank, and of course, that's subject to interpretation, but the most respected bank in Africa by 2018. So clearly, some ambitious moves from the current management, and Herbert, of course, will be driving that forward. But what's your take on Access? Do you think this is a stock we should be buying?
Exactly, yes. Access is a stock for the future, but I would not actually want you to enter at the present price because I am expecting that the Nigerian stock market will still pull back a little while. If you look at the current happenings in Europe, there's a serious political crisis in Portugal, and there's a turmoil in Egypt. S&P just downgraded 3 of the biggest banks in Europe, talking about Deutsche Bank, Barclays, and Credit Suisse. Now, with all this development, market sentiment globally is going down, even though the US data has been very, very positive. The data from China has not been encouraging, and the negative news has been offsetting the positive news. And with the tie of the Nigerian market to the global market, I expect that this will rub off on us negatively. Right. So I expect our market to pull back a little. When that happens and the price of Access Bank does fall a little, maybe to like 10 naira, then you can enter and just leave it for a while and count your gains as the market begins to enter the upswing. Right. And then you determine when you probably want to pull out.
I hear you say we should buy into the dip.
Exactly.
If you look at the data today, for instance, it's quite encouraging what we're seeing in terms of volumes. About 4 billion naira worth of deals done today, from a low of about 2.5 in the previous session. That's something that I think one needs to track more closely. The volumes that we see as the market moves forward. And I'm of the view that if we continue to see low volumes, then it's more likely that this market is likely to trend lower.
Yeah, if the volumes are low, you're very correct, Wale. But if the volumes are low and the number of declining shares outweighs the number of shares that are gaining, that is also a signal you should look at. If the technical indicator shows that the all share index is dipping further downwards, it's something you should look at. If the strong Nigerian banks have a very strong link with their European counterparts, particularly in the area of credit lines. If the the Egyptian turmoil has a strong effect on the commodity market, particularly oil, because of the great importance of the Suez Canal to the supply of oil to Europe and America. Is something you should look at. If the crisis in Portugal begins to affect the European debt crisis, remembering that just 2 years ago Portugal had a bailout, and that was when the yield on the 10-year bond crossed 7%, which it has reached now, and Spain is about that level. Is something you should look at. Now, these indicators are not too good at the moment. It's rubbing off negatively on the market sentiment, and that would definitely affect our own market.
Right. So
give and take.
Markets we need to keep a very close eye on. But in this context, and as yes, it's where you could say we're in certain territory right now for equities markets, and one must also add the impact of the high yield in the fixed income market. In this context, but what do you suggest one should be buying right now? Or do you think that we should still, like you mentioned earlier, wait for a dip, or are there some really outstanding, attractive opportunities there?
Yeah. I think you should wait. I think waiting for a dip is a very good strategy. That's what Warren Buffett usually does. He becomes greedy when people are panicking. So first bank price is low, is very attractive. Oando, because of the closure date for the dividend yield, we're seeing some upswing in the price. At 13 naira, Oando is a good buy. So Oando is good to buy at that price. First Bank is good. Sterling at the current price is good, say between 2.3 and 2.5. This is about a very good support range for Sterling Bank. Right. And just need to watch a little. When Zenith and GT dips a little more, you could enter, because these banks have strong fundamentals. So even with the downgrade of 3 European banks by S&P, it will just have a little effect on the price of GT and Zenith. I don't think it's going to affect them negatively in a long term. It's going to be just for the short term. So you should also look at those two stocks, because their fundamentals are very, very strong.